Welcome everyone to another startup and automobile documentation. What we have today is a 2017 GMC Acadia Denali. This Acadia is painted in quicksilver metallic. It does have smart key access on all four doors. On the key fob, you have the buttons for lock, unlock, remote start, power tailgate release, and panic. The front door panels have storage. You have your power tailgate control right here. It does have a premium Bose sound system. And you have power windows, locks, and mirrors, along with two-person memory settings for the driver's seat. This one has a jet black interior, and leather seat upholstery is standard on the Denali trim. Both front seats are fully powered with two-way power lumbar support. But now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine, and along with Smart Key, it does have push-button ignition. The GMC Acadia is a mid-size three-row family crossover competing with rivals like the Ford Explorer and Toyota Highlander. The Acadia made its debut for the 2007 model year, and as of the 2024 model year, it is now in its third generation. The Acadia actually marked a couple of firsts for GMC, and that it was the brand's first unibody vehicle and its first front-wheel drive-based passenger vehicle, as prior to this, they had specialized pretty much exclusively in body-on-frame trucks, vans, and SUVs. The brand was known as GMC Truck for many years after all. Nonetheless, GMC's first crossover was a massive success. This 2017 model represents the second generation of the Acadia, which was produced in total from model years 2017 through 2023. It rides on GM's C1XX platform alongside the second-gen Chevy Traverse and Buick Enclave. However, the second-gen Acadia uses a shorter version of the platform, making it slightly smaller than its Chevy and Buick counterparts. That being said, the second-gen Acadia does still offer 3 rows of seats, unlike the Chevy Blazer and Cadillac XT5, which also use the shortened C1XX platform as mid-size 2-row SUVs. From 2018 to 2020, the second-gen Acadia was also rebadged in Australia as the Holden Acadia. 2020 marked a mid-cycle refresh for the second-gen Acadia, which most notably gave it a new front-end design, new infotainment, a new turbo inline-4 engine option, and a new 9-speed automatic transmission. Trim levels for the US market 2017 model year Acadia included the evidently very rare base SL trim, followed by SLE1, SLE2, SLT1, and SLT2, and finally the range-topping Denali like this one. 2 engines were available, those being a 2.5-liter inline-4 with 193 horsepower and a 3.6-liter V6 with 310 horsepower, the latter of which was standard on the Denali. The sole transmission that year was a 6-speed automatic, and the available drivetrains were front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, the latter of which being what this one has. In the instrument cluster, we have 3 analog gauges, which are your tachometer, along with your fuel gauge and temperature gauge. But everything else is located within this large digital info display, which can be gone through via these controls on the steering wheel. So you have a bunch of main menus right here, but under info, you have your digital speedometer, trip computers, average fuel economy, range, oil life, etc. Down to audio, pretty self-explanatory, your audio info, phone info, navigation, which I was actually quite impressed to find this has a navigation map in the gauge cluster screen. It's especially seeing as this thing is like 6-7 years old. And then under options, basically your settings menu with all sorts of stuff. But you'll see it says Sport right here, because this is the display theme. You have two different themes. You have Sport and then Touring. So this is what it looks like in Touring. You can go back to your info, as you can see. It has a 4-spoke design, heated, leather-wrapped, multifunctional steering wheel. As for controls, first on the front of the spokes, on this side you have your cruise controls, along with the gap adjust for your forward collision alert, and the button for your heated steering wheel. Then on this side you'll find your information display controls, along with your Bluetooth phone and voice command controls, while on the back of the spokes you'll find your audio controls. And the steering wheel is power, tilt, and telescopic. You have your electronically operated parking brake, panel dimmer, climate vent for the driver. On this side is your exterior lighting stock, blind spot monitors, and on this side is your wiper stock. Going down the center of the interior, you have your IntelliLink infotainment screen, central climate vents, and we have some physical radio/infotainment system controls. You have your volume power tuning knobs along with your seat track, and then some various shortcut buttons for the infotainment system. The system we will go over more in a bit. Now this vehicle does have tri-zone automatic climate controls with the front controls right here. You have your temperature for either side, auto, sync, AC, recirculation, front and rear defrost, different zones, and then your fan speed dial. And of course there are a separate set of controls for the rear. But below that you have a storage area with a 12-volt power outlet, along with 2 USB ports and an aux port. And you also have the controls for your 3-stage heated and cooled front seats. Right here you have your hazard switch and the button for your traction control. Right next to the shifter you have 2 cup holders. Entering reverse does reveal a backup camera with guidance lines along with an overhead camera. And going down into drive brings up your front view camera. Now just behind the shifter you have the button for your parking sensors and the button for your lane keep assist. And right here is your drive mode selector. You have Tour, all-wheel drive, Sport, off-road, and tow haul. Center console with some storage. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors with lights. Auto-dimming rear view, and on the overhead console you have a sunglass holder, overhead lighting, garage home link, OnStar roadside assistance, and you have the controls for your sunroof, dual pane, as you can see. Finally, here's the IntelliLink infotainment system in this 2017 Acadia Denali. Right now we're on the home screen. Under audio, you have AM, FM, and Sirius XM. Media, so any Bluetooth devices you might have paired. Under phone, pretty self-explanatory. And the shortcut button for tone brings up your audio settings, your equalizer, that kind of stuff. Screen projection. Navigation. Actually a pretty somewhat decently responsive map, especially seeing how old this vehicle is. Destination, you also have your points of interest, different categories. As you can see, Under settings, we got quite a bit of stuff. We do have the options for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in here as well. Weather, so if you have a SiriusXM TravelLink subscription, you can bring up local weather. Texting, OnStar info. You can control the rear climate controls right here. You can even lock out the controls for rear passengers to use. But you can change the temperature, fan speed in the back from up here. You can bring up your cameras while you're in park, which I think is kind of an underrated feature. I don't know, I just like the idea of, if you're just sitting in your car in park, you're just sitting somewhere having lunch, but you just put the cameras on, you can see what's going on outside. I just kind of think it's a cool feature. Anyways, a couple of other more things, as you can see. But other than that, that's a brief overview of this IntelliLink system. You have a grab handle for the front passenger. But now we'll roll down the driver's window and have a look at the engine bay. All 4 windows are automatic down, and the driver's one is fully automatic as well. Standard on the Acadia Denali were these 20-inch, 6-spoke bright aluminum rims with midnight silver accents. Powering the Denali is the Acadia's top engine for 2017, that being GM's LGX 3.6-liter naturally aspirated V6. It's an all-aluminum engine with dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, direct injection, variable valve timing, and active fuel management. Horsepower is rated at 310 at 6,600 RPM, and torque is rated at 271 pound-feet at 5,000 RPM. This engine is paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission with a manual mode, and this Acadia is equipped with the optional all-wheel drive system. Running on regular unleaded with a 22-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates for an Acadia like this one are 18 mpg in the city and 25 mpg on the highway. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. 4-wheel disc brakes are standard. When properly equipped, V6-powered 17 Acadias can tow up to 4,000 pounds. The fuel doors on the driver's side, you do have roof racks. The back door panels have numerous storage areas. You also have bottle holders back here. First, we'll hop in the third row. Alright, so here in the third row of the Acadia, it's a pretty cramped back seat as someone who's about 6'1", but I can see this being not too bad for smaller individuals. But you do have your own climate vents back here, which is nice to have. You also have storage and cup holders, and you also got a USB port right here, which is nice for charging as well. And headroom is actually pretty good. It's just legroom for me that's not the greatest. But nonetheless, it is nice to have a decently usable third row seat in this midsize crossover. And I have been in third row seats that are actually way more cramped than this one. But now, We'll check out the second row. Both front seats do have mat pockets on the backs. Coat hooks back here. Now, the nice thing about the second row captain's chairs is that you can adjust them. You can slide them back and forth. That'll give more room for the third row passengers, so that's actually really nice to have that flexibility. Then you have a lever right here, which you can use to recline the seats. So you have some nicely adjustable back seats back here. And rear passenger amenities, that's not even the last of them, because, again, you have your own set of climate controls back here, automatic nonetheless. You have your fan speed, auto, different modes, temperature, and then you have 3-stage heated second row seats. In addition, second row passengers also get a household style power outlet and 2 USB-A ports. And you have a large storage bin right here. Both captain's chairs also get armrests. So between your own climate control set, the adjustability of the captain's chairs, having them be heated, this is a very nice, I would say, road trip ready SUV. It's a very practical, flexible interior, although if you want even more space, obviously you'd want to go up to a Tahoe or Yukon, but I think with the Acadia you get the car-like crossover driving experience. It's not as cumbersome to drive, and it's not as much of a gas hog as like a full-size SUV. So I think this is, for a lot of people, this might be the perfect balance of practicality and efficiency. Dual exhaust, rear wiper, and it of course has a power tailgate. With all the seats up, cargo space in the Acadia is 12.8 cubic feet. Folding down the third row increases space to 41.7 cubic feet. Finally, with both the third and second rows folded down, you get 79 cubic feet of space. You've got a power outlet back here. Third row is very easy to fold down. Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2017 GMC Acadia. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.